Does estate planning have to be complicated? Welcome to the Sarah Finkelstein Show. Today is January 26, 2022. What a great question. Most people I run into think that estate planning is complicated, but we can learn vicariously through other people and stories of other people's examples and experiences with estate planning. People of all income levels and asset levels make mistakes. And the wealthier a person is, the bigger the financial mistakes that they could be making. So let me share some stories with you of some very famous people. Do you know that Marilyn Monroe died at a young age? And she did have a will. She also set aside $100,000 to take care of her mother. But a problem that she had with her estate is that 55% of her estate went to the Internal Revenue Service. She had intended for her licenses and royalties to go to charity. Unfortunately, that never happened. How about Audrey Hepburn? Audrey Hepburn, another famous actress, had a whole storage unit filled with her scripts, her costumes, her posters, and she intended for all of that to be split evenly between her two sons. However, the two sons could not agree on what would be a fair split. So they took the case to court. And you know what that happens? When that happens, a ton of money is spent on legal fees. How many of you have heard of the football player Steve McNair? Now, Steve died suddenly, also at a young age, and he left behind a wife and 4 children. And because he didn't do proper planning, his young kids inherited a lot of money at very young ages. Now we know that somebody who's young, maybe 18 years old, comes into an inheritance, they could blow it all away, can't they? And I'm sure that's not what Steve intended to happen. But if he had done some planning, he could have indicated the specific ages that he wanted his children to inherit money. He could have put in their age 25, age 28, whatever it might be. We can make those decisions as long as we have the documents in place. These documents that have to be drafted, signed, and notarized. Here's another actor maybe you've heard of, Heath Ledger. He was an Australian actor who came to the United States to further his career. And he left a daughter behind and she did not get the money that she was intended to get because he did not do adequate planning. So these are just a few examples, and I am sure that there are many, many other examples. For example, Paul Newman, who told his family what his plans were, that his daughters would inherit money, and it didn't happen. And his family was shocked and surprised. It was probably an error, not intentional, but that's why it's important to have these documents drafted by professionals. So to summarize, it's all about planning. We have to plan and plan appropriately because none of us knows when the end comes. For most of us, it's a surprise.
Hey,
Yes,
do you remember my mom was a New York State tax examiner?
I do.
Remember she talked about how she actually did some accounting work and she actually had to find out why there was a brothel in somebody's account, in somebody's estate, and the wife had no idea that there was a brothel there. She had to go find the owner of a brothel. Can you believe that? So, you know, not all the spouses are aware of all the business interests. And she was an incredible lady that she uncovered some incredible stuff out there that you might not be aware of that's in estates.
Absolutely. And that's a very good point. So there's things out there that we may not be aware of. But I urge you to do the planning, get the documents. So many times people say, yeah, I know, I need to do it, I need to do it. And they just put it off and put it off. And hopefully you don't put it off when it's too late. So plan and plan appropriate. There are plenty of estate planning attorneys. There's also economical solutions to get your documents in order. If you're interested, just text me after the show. And I thank you for joining me today. And please join me tomorrow. As a registered financial consultant, I welcome your questions. And I know we all have questions relating to our finances, our retirement plans, our financial futures. Feel free to reach out. Thank you for joining me.